Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, and holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a good old time. Time for a good old time. Time for Do I have sound now? My lips are probably set up well for lip reading, but can you hear me? Okay, now okay. Like a 20-second delay between the chat and me talking, so now you can hear me. Let me what was I gonna say? Oh, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Some of you may have come from the chase that we were just watching, which had a bit of a crazy ending, but alas, we are here today. I got my nails done. The girl that did my nails was a complete bitch, okay? Absolutely total bitch. Um, yeah, it was me. Anyways, just before anybody gets too many ideas, I'm nice to my nail girls, okay? Unless it's me. Then I'm not very nice. Um, okay, so everyone's coming in. Oh, I was asking what everyone had for dinner. Go ahead and tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. I live on the West Coast, and so it's only 6:38 p.m. here. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I haven't even thought about it. So I love to hear what you had for dinner because it gives me ideas of what to think about eating while I inevitably eat the same thing that I normally do. Anywho, we also have a link posted in the chat for Mayor. Our dear friend Mayor lost his wife Sassy, and there is a GoFundMe set up. It is pinned in the chat, and it is just there. It's a hard time for Mayor, so I think we can surround him with love and attention. And if you were able to give in the GoFundMe, then that too. But if not, just a kind thought or a prayer. And and again, for that wee babby, there was a wee baby involved in that last chase that made me a little bit sad. Tortilla chips for dinner is not bad. That is very close to what I will probably end up eating. Pizza or fried fish for Courtney. Pizza from a Greek restaurant. Cellulite repents. Pork chop with yellow squash, onions, mushrooms, and tomatoes. Oh my gosh. Pizza, pizza, pizza. I don't have any pizza. I don't know if I should tell you guys this secret or not. Yesterday, my impulsive thoughts, they're not intrusive thoughts, they're impulsive, sort of took over, and I went and I bought a lot of candy. And I've had to hide it from myself. I know where it is, but it's just the act of having to go dig it out of the place that I've put it away is like trying to reduce my candy intake. It's not going to happen. I will finish the container and then probably work on the second container that I really didn't think I should buy, but I did, justifying it by the trek that I made to the store to get it. Um, Anywho, keep an eye out for that because there's almost no way that I will not go and get some candy to eat while we're watching this. You did and you didn't. I wanted this candy for so long. Oh, I'll show you guys in a second. Let me get us started with what court we're gonna watch. We have two different judges. Um, I can't do a time padlock. I will break open a safe. It's enough for me to have removed it. If it was sitting in front of me, it would be gone immediately. I will eat and eat and eat it. When I have to like devise to go get some, then that's good enough for me. I know what I should and shouldn't eat. Even when I binge it, I know. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Jody. Hi, Erica. You guys, we barely started court yet. We're just talking about dinner and candy. My dinner being candy. Chef salad with homemade buttermilk ranch dressing. Dang. Bougie. I love it though. Love it. I'll grab the candies. Let's get us started. Hopefully these
Good morning.
I'm so excited about that too.
Good morning, Your Honor.
I know it's
Are
not
we
good
expecting
here
anyone
yet, but
else?
so happy.
Nope, I think this is it.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
This is in the District Court of Ellis County, Kansas. It is case number 19 DM 239. Johnny Elder and Journey Elder. And you are Johnny Elder,
Yes,
you're Journey Elder,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you're both appearing pro se representing yourself.
correct.
Correct.
And Mr. Johnny Elder, that is your choice to appear here without an attorney and to represent yourself today.
Yes,
And Miss Journey Elder, it is your choice to appear pro se and represent yourself today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. We have two motions on file. Journey filed a motion on June 25th regarding Johnny's decision to have the children go to a overnight camp. And Johnny has filed a motion on July 2nd regarding modifying parenting time.
Correct,
correct.
Your Honor.
Are there any other motions pending at this time?
Not on
No,
my
no.
end, Your Honor.
Okay. So we'll just take them up in the order they're filed. And you're the only two people here, so I assume you're both going to be testifying today.
Correct, Your Honor.
So I'm going to
Correct.
swear you in.
What
So
about me,
Journey,
Judge?
if you would raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
I do, Your Honor.
And you're currently in the state of Kansas?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, you may put your hand down. And Johnny, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
I do.
And you're currently in the state of Kansas as well.
I am.
Thank you. Okay, regarding your motion, Ms. Journey Elder,
Yes.
go ahead.
I requested the right of first refusal for July 21st to July 26th, which is the dates of a camp that Mr. Elder had stated he would be placing our children. I think only our daughter is eligible. Our son is a little too young for the camp. It's based in Hutchinson, Kansas, which is an hour from Salina, and I believe an hour and a half from Wichita. I'm going to be home during this time. I don't see a reason why our children need to be placed in an overnight camp when they could be with a parent instead. I did request, explain my concerns to Mr. Elder. We had decided on our summer parenting plan in March 20th. And then
5 days before my birthday. Okay, yeah, I'm getting some weird vibes here. Kids, kids, kids are into camp. Here's the thing. Your divorce, my parenting time, like it's their entitlement. I get that it is, but in reality, it's just a red flag to me. Like time with the children would be even better, but the reality that I'm saying is if you can afford to send you that experience, ma'am, if they're willing to go, I promise you they will have a good time. Just I just it makes me sad because I know there's a oh, StreamYard, don't do it to me. I know there's a lot of people that want it that can't, and a lot of kids that would love to go. Also, I'm eating sour keys. I need away from me. I'm gonna take a handful, put it on my desk, move the rest away.
he had requested this change on June 6th. And I stated at that time I was not comfortable with our children being in an overnight camp. And I followed up to ensure that, we weren't going to be going that route. I'd provided on the 6th several other day activities like a Descendants theater camp that the kids were interested in, the field house camp. Now, both of those were in Salina. So I also provided an information on the Exploration Place camp there in Wichita. I have a discount code because we keep a family membership, so I offered that as well if Mr. Elder was needing.
I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say, isn't the right of first refusal different for camp voluntarily? I think this is a pretty unique application. What I'll say is that parent generally gets a certain amount of time in the summer. And so if a kid on their time, not because they can't care for them, but because you think it's an experience that would be beneficial to them in their growth, development, and life, and the kid wants to go to this, then and they have joint managing conservatorship, then that doesn't. I think the problem here is that people look at this like parenting time. Each parenting time is a child's life. That kid doesn't really give two fucks whose day it is when they go to camp. They will remember not getting to go to camp if they want to go to camp. And I get that parenting time is important, but I'm going to argue camp attendance, if they want to, for age appropriate and appropriate, is way better. I'm sorry, some parents are boring as fuck. Okay, to conscript a child with their boring ass mom or their boring ass dad instead of going to a for a week. The fact that they're bringing this to the court is already to me very, very worrisome. It's all parent sensibility, all about it. And that the parents, when they're both together and they're not subject to court ordered parent plans, still make the decision about their child based on what's best for them. Is my child going to benefit from camp? Can we afford it? Are they going to be able to handle the rigors of being away from home? These are all things that you put through your brain before you make a decision as to whether or not you put that child in camp. And the one thing that's different is that when you are as a couple, very rarely or at the very bottom of the list, calculate how much time did I spend with Jimmy this. Like it doesn't come into the calculation. You, as a parent, you have to take the back burner. what's better for the kid is better. So it just that there's this weird added thing that parents of separated kids, and I'm a divorced mom with a kid, and I'm also a child of divorced parents. Like I'm aware. Anyways, rant over. Sugar high coming.
It was not for childcare. It was just for enrichment opportunities. And I explained my stance. I'm very against overnight camps for children. I don't feel safety-wise that's a good place for them to be. Our daughter is 10 years old. Our son is 8. And so 6 nights away, that's
So they're both old enough to articulate if there's a problem. I never got to go to camp younger. I had to go.
I did follow up on June 23rd via Talking Parents to see, what was the plan for that week, and then filed the motion on the 25th.
Mr. Elder.
Yes.
So it's actually really simple, Your Honor. I told her that, this is my agreed parenting time. It seems like since I've returned from deployment 2 years ago, anything that I want to do with the kids, she has something to say, or she wants to take them during that time. She's minimized my parenting time as much as she can. The kids learned about this church camp at Sunday school, and they asked me if they could go. I told them it's during my time. I didn't see why not. So I told Journey about it, and of course, she had an issue with something I wanted to do for them yet again. This is something that they wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to do unless they're with me. So I told them that I didn't have a problem with it. She disagreed. I told her if she disagrees, we can go to mediation or we can come to court.
What kind of camp is this?
It's Kansas Bible Camp.
And what are the ages that are eligible to go?
So my daughter is eligible this year. It is for ages 9 and up.
Starting 4th grade.
He sounds like he wants to be involved. This does not sound nefarious, Mom. It's not like
And so
divorce
Evan
camp.
would not be eligible yet.
He would not.
He's only 8.
And I did not realize that at the time. I was just running it by her to, just keep her in the loop. Because they brought me a little pamphlet after Sunday school. And so that's when I asked her about it later on. And I told him I didn't have an issue with it. But like I said, of course she did. So I just told her, I'm not gonna keep playing this game with you. If the kids want to do something during my parenting time, then I will allow it. She says that it's right of first refusal. I disagree, and that's why we're here today. I felt like right of first refusal, that's if I cannot have the kids. This has nothing to do with that. I can have them. I'll be visiting them while they're there. It's not an hour and a half away. It's about 50 minutes. They have a parents' day that we can come interact with the kids. Like I said, it's something that they want to do, and I have no problem with. And I don't want to stop doing the things that we want to do on my side, just because she finds an issue with anything that we want to do.
Journey.
I definitely disagree, Your Honor. I have not stated anything against things that they've been doing. They've been in VBS, they've been in motorcycle club meetings, they've been going to church. I've not stated any concerns about any of the summer activities outside of this overnight camp.
Okay. Well, 10 is usually the age kids can start doing overnight camps. That's not uncommon. So with that clarification, it made sense to me. I thought, well, Evan's a little young at 8, but 10 years old, finishing, you know, 4th grade is the time that kids start going to camps. So that's not unusual. The right of first refusal generally deals with if he would be unable to care for the children during his visitation, rather than place them with a third person, then you would have the first option to care for the children. This is not that situation. This is just a situation where the child is signed up for an activity. So it's better if you two can agree, but obviously you're going to hit points where you're not going to agree as the kids get older. Have you had a chance to look at the material from the?
I have, Your Honor, I have lots of concerns. Mr. Elder and I do not agree on religious matters. He's much more conservative leaning than I am. So the camp is very conservative in nature. The children don't have the option to have a cell phone except for in certain instances. There's information there on the website about, you know, modest dressing for girls and a lot of language that is very concerning to me as somebody who is a trained domestic sexual violence advocate who has spent 16 years professionally in this space in some form or matter. When we place the burden onto girls for boys' thoughts, things like that.
Now I have to agree with her here. Dress codes are bullshit, but you didn't say that first. Exactly, MB. You were opposed to the overnights. You didn't say about the camp doctrine. Also, again, the kids want to go. The kids want to go.
So there was no information provided to me by Mr. Elder about visitation, about this family day. I had not received any of that. I did request a copy of the application. I have not received that. I have no idea if my information is even on there or if he placed his wife's information.
Mr. Elder.
Yeah, Your Honor, I haven't filled out an application. I merely told her about my intentions to put them in that camp. Like I said, I hadn't even fully looked into it until it turned into a big disagreement. At that time, I told her, again, I've been saying for 2 years I want to go to mediation, but I said, if you have an issue with something, you can take it to mediation or we can take it to court. You have adequate time before the camp starts. So the camp has not even started yet. We still have time to sign them up. I just figured that we would come here and see what you had to say before I did anything.
Okay, well, camp, it starts what, next week?
On
Yes.
Sunday, Your Honor.
Yeah, you're a week out from camp. Okay. Under the age of 12, I think it's best if both parents agree. Once they have been completed 6th grade,
Judge, what are you saying, Christopher? Do. Why internet? Why, oh, why? Courtney, I just love you. Put them up for an option already. Taser them. Taser, can we taser them? She is gonna regret it. Ostensibly, she raised good children. A child able to articulate if there's a problem to her and get it.
and it's a established camp uh, if Mr. Elder wishes children to attend the summer camp on his time, that is fine. Once the children are 12, she's a little young. She's only 10. Now, that's not too young to go to camp. Children start going to camp at 10, but the parents need to be in agreement. So
Does that go for all camps, Your Honor, or
I
just
would-
overnight camps?
well, this is overnight camps.
Okay.
Like, if it were, like go during the day, come home at night, that would be fine. And they may have an option to do that. I don't know. You'll have to check into that. But it's something that the two of you, when you're looking at overnight camp, the two of you need to really look at it and make sure that you're in agreement for it until the children are 12. Once they're 12, then they're old enough to start being able to discern what's kind of good for them, not good for them, a little less suggestive than what 10 and certainly 8 would be.
The
So-
only issue I see with that, Your Honor, is, obviously I can't prove it here today, but just about anything that I want to do or that I mention for the kids, she has an issue with. So, I understand that we need to wait a couple of years, if that's what you're ruling, but just anything with the kids, she's going to have an issue with it if I propose it, whether it be for the good of the kids or not.
Well, hopefully you'll work past that. Because you need to do what's best for the children. Okay.
And I feel like this
But
is
when
something
you
that,
co-parent, you need to be able to reach agreement. And so under the age of 12, you both need to be in agreement if it's going to be overnight camping. Now, if it's just day events and then they come home at night, that's up to the parent who is in charge of the child.
That's agreeable, Your Honor.
You don't get a choice, Journey. Shut up. There's a lot of this hearing left, other stuff. Reminder, these people fucked, right? At some point, censor me now. People fucked.
Now, as for your motion, Mr. Elder,
yes,
you filed a motion to modify and clarify parenting time.
yes.
Okay. And I did note the original agreement back in March of 2020 is basically, it's not unusual for a first ruling when the children are young to say the parents will agree because they generally tend to agree. It's when the children start to get older and when you end up moving to different towns from one another. And then you start having additional step parents now involved that we run into these problems. So this is not unusual. Okay, this is almost foreseeable in this situation. So, Mr. Elder, what are you looking for in the way of clarification?
So as you stated, when that was ordered, at that time, we were pretty agreeable on everything. I'm still active duty, so we just agreed at that time, for my summertime, she would give me all the time she could when I'm not off on orders training or deployed or whatever. And that was the case for a while, until I deployed. And during my deployment, she would allow me one phone call per week for an hour maximum. That's it. If I missed that phone call, too bad. Wait till next week.
Objection, no.
No is not an objection, Journey. Make a legal objection. Or please be quiet so we can listen to the tea. No. Seriously. Don't take objection and abuse. Hi. Hi. This lady might piss you off.
That we needed a change in time. We set an hours because our children were in school full-time, doing full-time activities. And he wanted them to be on a recorded Zoom. And so I requested that he set a standard time every week to communicate with our children. And as long as he communicated a change due to, his military needs or the kids' schedule, I had no problem changing it. And in fact,
Christopher Engelby, make sure gifting's turned on. Members only are every week around here on a Sunday. Oh my God. Orlando. We do it on here. Thank you so much. I hope you are well. You guys rock. Seriously. And this is really my face is I'm getting off the screen.
had
Well,
We
obviously,
will,
you need
yeah,
to be
we'll have to agree to
flexible, and
disagree,
you're
Your Honor.
talking about past events.
Yep, so
Let's
that's
talk
one of the-
about the future.
Yep, so that's one of the changes that I requested, is that during any military obligation that I have, I would like for my wife to still have my parenting time so that they can spend time with their siblings here and so that they can still see my side of the family. While I was deployed, they only got to see my side of the family 2 or 3 times. I asked about that a bunch and it seemed to be an issue. So I just don't want to run into that issue moving forward when I'm deployed or I'm off on training. I would still like them to see my side of the family.
get clarification on that, Your Honor. I set up time with his sister and we had agreed on once every month or once every other month. She personally canceled it 3 times. One of those visits was due to weather, which was out of control. It was, I think a January timeframe. The other 2 she personally canceled. I never canceled
I
a
think what
meeting time.
Mr. Elder is referring to is if it's, for example, his weekend, and he may have obligations, that the children still come and spend it with stepmom and step siblings.
Correct. They were not, they had just started dating during his deployment, which is why I set up parenting time with his sister during his deployment 2 years ago.
And Mr. Elder, you've married?
Yes, and that's not true either, Your Honor. At that time, we were engaged. We had been together for at least a year. And so and there was more than just, the weekends with my sister. There was things, I was saying, hey, can the kids go to this birthday, their cousin's birthday party, or can they go to their soon to be stepsister's birthday party, or different activities that I wanted them to be engaged in during deployment that she downright refused.
Okay, well, let's work into the future. His parenting time is his parenting time. And so if he has an obligation The children would still spend it with his wife and her children. So that's not a right of first refusal situation. First refusal is when nobody, neither he nor his wife, can take the children for that visitation. Then rather than the way you have it is, if he says, well, they could stay with my sister, then you have a right of first refusal if neither one of them could care for the children. But as long as he or his wife are available to care for the children, it would still be his time.
And I'm open to going through the parenting plan. I don't agree with everything he's listed on here, and believe we could do well with, a mediation and go through some further events that probably need clarified that weren't added in here, and then kind of talk through the things that he has added on here, such as trying to force the meeting at each other's houses. We live an hour and a half away from each other. Meeting in the middle works best, and we've got a great spot in Heston, Kansas that has worked well for us.
Your Honor, can I chime in?
Yes.
So it was never an issue. We've always lived an hour and a half from each other. I lived in Hayes. She lived in Salina. Now I live in Wichita. She lives in Salina. I moved for the military. It was never an issue for me to pick up the kids at her house when it was my parenting time, and for her to pick up the kids at my house. I felt like that's better than subjecting the kids to being out and about and unpacking bags and loading them into another car and all of that. That changed for her when I came home from deployment and she realized that I'm in a serious relationship. At that point, she brought police to my house because she stated that she was scared of me at that point. I don't know why. She has no proof, no evidence. I've never threatened her, although she says that I have. She's made multiple social media posts talking about how abusive of a person I am all of a sudden.
Again, let's not dwell on past events. Let's look
Okay.
at now and into the future.
So
Okay.
I would like to keep the.
While I agree with that, Erica, again, the reality is if he is deployed and active duty military, it's not fair to penalize him for living in a house that is better suited. I'll tell you something right now. If I had grown up with things would have been better for me. A step parent can love a child and have them thrive. Vibe that she doesn't cooperate very well. It's gonna silence me. I can't talk.
The same thing that we've always done, which is I pick up the kids from her house. The kids can just come out the door, hop in the truck with dad. She picks up the kids from my house. It's the same driving distance. It makes things easier for the kids, less confusing in public when there's no existing threat. She says that there is, and there hasn't been. I would like to keep the same thing moving on for the future.
And I, again, disagree. I think a public meeting place has worked well these last 2 years. It gives a chance for the kids to get out, stretch their legs. They get a snack at KC's, use the restroom, because that is a long drive, and 3 hours round trip on a Friday night versus an hour and a half drive is much more doable.
Is there a reason why it doesn't work to meet halfway?
Because I would like to keep the same thing for the kids. The kids have also stated that, Daddy, why can't you come to our house? Journey has told me if I show up to her house, she will call the police. She's inflated everything, that the police need to be involved, that I'm some abusive father. The kids have caught on to that.
Well, right now, Mr. Journey, we're only talking about traveling. So when you're exchanging for a weekend, you're talking Friday evening, and it is easier if both parties go, about 75 minutes and then home 75 minutes is a lot easier than if you drive an hour and a half and drive home an hour and a half. That's a long trip.
So the other problem that I expressed to her that I have with it is if my wife is working or she has something going on, not only do I have to leave the house on Friday and Sunday now, if I have to drag my kids out with me instead of just getting out and about one day, like we used to always do. I have a family now. I have 2 other kids. When I go out to pick up the kids, a lot of times I got to load the baby up both times. I don't see the point of me being on the road Friday and Sunday and her being on the road Friday and Sunday when I can take Friday and she can take Sunday. And it's the same time and distance.
It is the same time and distance. The difference is what works for the parties.
Yeah, and that really doesn't work for me. I've been doing it because I've had to, because she's told me that she'll call the police on me, and I don't want to subject the kids to that. She's involved the police already. The kids had to see that and were crying, and it was not necessary. So I've avoided that until we could go to mediation. I've been asking for mediation. I set up mediation. She refused to do it. And I have email traffic of me actually establishing a time for us to go. She couldn't pay for it at that time, so I offered to pay for all of it. She still wouldn't go. I
That
told her
was
it doesn't work
2
for me.
years ago, Your Honor. My mom was literally in the ICU with a brain aneurysm bleed
And
at that time.
you both brought up that topic. Obviously, you can have the court set your time, or you can mediate time. Which do you prefer?
I think we're past mediation now, Your Honor. We're here in front of you. So I proposed my parenting plan that I've been asking for all of this time. She didn't want to go to mediation. I feel like it's reasonable, so I have it
Okay.
before you to hopefully sign.
Well, if the parties can agree, and you certainly make a valid point, Mr. Elder, on it being for you more convenient to make one long trip, one long 3-hour trip. Although with a baby, I'm not sure anytime you're talking a 3-hour trip, it's a good trip.
Well, let me clarify, Your Honor. I can coordinate one day, for, hey, make sure mama has the baby on Friday. She doesn't have to work that day, but if I have to coordinate both days, that's very inconvenient for me, or I have to bring my family out.
Right, well,
I can count on one hand the number of times he's had to bring his family.
if you two can agree, that's great. If you can't agree, then normally the parties meet halfway, because that way it does end up being more convenient for both. Even though you're both on the road twice, it's a shorter trip.
And once again, Your Honor, this is just her forcing the situation to get her way.
Well, Mr. Journey, it's just the reality of children have to be exchanged. Okay, that's the reality when you live an hour and a half apart. Children have to be exchanged. If you agree to do, one of you drive all the way for the drop off and one drive all the way for the pickup, that's fine. That's between the parties. If you can't agree, then you meet in the middle.
Can you look at her justification for wanting to do so? Her justification is that she's scared of me, that supposedly I've threatened her, and that she wants to do it in front of cameras in a public place. I've never done anything like that. And putting that idea into my kids' heads, they're going to see that eventually, thinking that dad's some dangerous person that mom has to meet in public so dad doesn't do something to her.
Well,
that's not true.
Mr. Journey, this has nothing to do with, and the meeting in public is a good thing for an exchange. This simply has to do with travel and exchange. If you can agree, one of you do the pickup and one do the drop off and one make the long trip and the other one not, that's fine. If you cannot agree, then you meet in the middle. That's standard with all the visitations.
Okay. I can make that change in there.
Then you meet in the middle. But if it works for one of you, there's going to be times when She may have something where she says, hey, I really can't make the trip on Sunday. Can I do the full drive on Friday and you do the full drive on Sunday? And that's fine. And you two can agree to do that. If you don't agree, then you fall back to the safety net of the court orders.
Right.
You're going to have to work with each other. You know, you've got another 10 years until Evan is 18. You still have to work together and cooperate with one another in parenting these children. So if that works, do that. Anytime you two can agree, you agree. Anytime you can work it out, work it out. If you can't work it out, you fall back to the court orders, which is your safety net. Okay? Court orders are your safety net. Otherwise, as parents, work with each other and reach agreement. So it's fine if it works for you, one of you to make the full trip on Friday night and one of you to make the full trip on Sunday, that's fine. But if you don't agree, then the court order, the safety net is you meet halfway on both exchanges. Okay?
I just don't find justification for her reason for changing it, Your Honor. We
Well,
always did that.
It's not a matter of reason. It's just a matter of that's how visitation works. Is
Understood.
you meet halfway. Okay?
Yep.
If you can agree otherwise, agree otherwise. If you cannot agree, your safety net is you both meet halfway. Okay? Now, as to your other time that you're looking for clarification.
That would be summertime.
As I understand what you're proposing is that during the school year, the children live primarily with Journey and they're doing every other weekend with you.
Correct.
And you're wanting to, in the summer, instead of flipping that, you're wanting to have them spend the entire summer with you
Correct.
with no visitation with their mom.
So what I'm proposing, Your Honor, is more likely than not, I'm active duty. They move me every 3 to 4 years. I'm going to be moving out of state. There's not another job location for me for my MOS here in Kansas. So I've got a year or two before I'm going to be PCS'd out of state. At that point, the only time I'm going to have with the kids is summertime. So I put in there at that point, if I live over 150 miles, that only that summertime would apply as well as the holiday schedule. So I'm asking that I have the entire summer now because she's limited me to last summer. I got 26 days total. This summer I've had 3 weeks so far until today. It's proceeding on to the 4th week just now. You know, I'm asking that I get the whole summer like most fathers do, and that she get at least a 2-week vacation period. We just need to coordinate that by May 1st. I got this idea from a couple of other co-parents that I have, and they have the same exact thing. And I'm just asking for that I can have the summer and that she still get her vacation time with the kids.
And I would request that if he does move out of that 150 miles, I would prefer more of like 4 weeks with me, 8 weeks with him. So that way then we do have other activities, maybe, a week back before the end of, or before the start of school, so they can be reestablished to their school schedule.
That is something you're trying to look into a crystal ball. You don't know yet if and when he's being reassigned out of state.
Correct.
Right now, let's deal with the issue at hand.
Yep, and I'm asking for that right now, Your Honor. I haven't had a lot of time with my kids.
The summer as it exists now.
Yep, I would like the entire summer now minus 2 weeks for her vacation.
And Mr. Elder is definitely misrepresented these last few summers. Back in March, I requested for us to come up with our summer schedule. He asked me to come up with the summer schedule, and I did, and totaled out, the number of days, put in the events that the kids wanted to do, the holidays that we were each assigned, and he had over double the amount of time that I did. And, you know, I came up with that no concerns. And then last summer, we split it half and half, and worked around his military schedule in June. So we each had 6 weeks. It wasn't all consecutive 6 weeks, but I had the majority of June. He had the majority of July. And so it came down to my house 41 days, or his house 41 days, my house 22 days in the original agreement that we came up with for this current summer.
Your Honor, I'd be willing to provide proof that that is inaccurate and that her math is wrong.
It's on the Talking Parents app.
Yep.
Let's look at it this way. What's customary when you have a length of time where you're having every other weekend during the school year is to just flip that. And then the children reside in Wichita for the summer with her having every other weekend visitation. Now, you do plan in a summer vacation.
Okay.
If Journey is planning to take the children somewhere or do a summer vacation, you plan that into the schedule. So you would flip the summer where the children live primarily with Johnny and they see Journey every other weekend. And then you build in a summer vacation if you're planning to take a summer vacation.
We do. We
Okay.
did it this year. We changed it to November due to a training I have, but we have every year.
So you would be allowed up to 2 weeks for summer vacation.
Okay.
Okay.
Would I be afforded the same thing, Your Honor? Because I would have a 12-day period in between her weekends that would not afford me a full 14-day or longer.
No,
vacation
you're
if we wanted.
you're allowed a summer vacation too. If there's a period of time where you're going somewhere doing something, then you just don't have that. You don't have the every other weekend during your summer vacation time.
So there would be 1 weekend in there of hers that would get canceled
Or
as long
two,
as I coordinate that.
depending on your schedule. There's at least 1 weekend. Sometimes you start and stop where you catch both weekends. You know, as long as you cooperate with each other and exchange your schedule, so be it.
Mhm.
But yes, you're entitled to your 2-week vacation as well. So just flip your summers.
And then that would go the same way once I move out of state and I'm not able to have my weekends, then I would have the whole summer. She would have the whole school year.
Once
With the
you're out of,
exception of holidays.
once you get to where you're too far for the every other weekend, then you build in, yeah, different time. It would be the entirety of the summer with her having the 2-week vacation, because you realistically are not going to be getting every other weekend during the school year if you live that far away.
Okay.
So the same thing, you end up losing that every other weekend. Then you need to be more vigilant with one another to provide time that you can when you have a school break. You know, if they're out for quote, spring break, make arrangements for them to spend a week with dad.
Right.
You know, if they have a quote fall break and they have that week, a whole week, make arrangements for them to spend that time with dad. And then same thing with your Christmas holiday. You look at that and make sure you split that down the middle so that they can spend at least a week quality time with dad.
And that's what we do now
when they
currently, Your Honor.
can make that longer trip.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's what we do now. And they spent spring break with him last year, or this year, the 2024.
So look at those opportunities in the school calendar to do that once you're moved out of state and relocate, Mr. Elbert. For now, let's just flip the summer or the summer schedule from the school schedule where they reside with you every other weekend with her, but you both have your quote summer vacation up to 2 weeks with the kids, and that includes the weekend time.
I can do that. Would you like me to
Okay.
make those edits to the parenting plan that I submitted and resubmit it to the court?
Yes, you'll need to
Okay.
do that, but resubmit it to Journey, have her approve it, and then submit it to the court.
And I'll give you my notes that I have and we can schedule a time to talk through those.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
And
Thank you,
again,
Your Honor.
things are going to change, particularly when Clarissa gets into middle school. She's going to have other activities and things. You're going to have to work with each other to make sure that his parenting time doesn't get trumped by every little activity that can pop up in middle school.
Well, in Your Honor, I
If-
calculated it last night and we have the Talking Parents communication. And in the 23 months since he's returned, I have put in 88 calendar invitations about appointments, surgeries, games, school events, conferences, plays. Mr. Elder has attended 4 of those events.
Good.
So he is being provided all of that information as soon as I receive it. But
So,
Your Honor, can I add in? I don't want this to sound disrespectful, but she is being dramatic. She puts every little thing in there, like the kids have a dentist appointment while she knows I'm at work. The kids have this, the kids have that while she knows I'm at work.
well,
I told her,
it's
stop
nice
it.
for her. It's nice for her to communicate with you. That doesn't mean you're
Right.
going to take her up on all those. What I'm talking about is once Clarissa gets into junior high, things like going to the Friday night football game become important.
Right.
Yeah.
So your exchanges now, you're looking at, maybe a Saturday morning rather than a Friday night, but then staying a little later on Sunday. As the kids get older and their activities change, you're going to have to be a little flexible with each other. Because you also have to keep in mind, you're doing this for best interest of the kids.
Right.
Okay. Now, just like this religion camp, at 12, he can sign her up. But if you look at the material and you're okay with it, and he wants to sign her up next year at age 11, that's fine. Use the court order as your safety net if you don't agree. Otherwise, what you two can agree on in the best interest of your children is what you should be doing. Okay? The court
Okay.
orders are your safety net if you can't agree. Otherwise, look at your kids' schedule, look at your schedules, work with each other to maximize time for the children to maintain relationship with both parents. Okay? So right now we'll do school year, Journey, summers with John. Every other weekend, except you have your 2-week vacations built into that schedule. Then during the school year, if they have a fall break for a week, if they have a spring break for a week, try to let them maximize that time with John, so that they have that lengthy quality time. Okay.
I think we're good, Your Honor.
Any other questions, Mr. Elder?
I don't believe so.
Any other questions, Miss Elder?
Not on my end, Your Honor.
And you've got Lee behind your name. Have you gone back to Lee?
I legally changed my name, Your Honor. I did send a copy of that to the court when I did that a couple of years ago. So yes, my legal name is now Journey Allison Lee rather than Journey Lee Elder.
My apologies. I didn't realize that.
That's okay. I can resend a copy if needed.
Okay. I didn't note that in the file. So. Okay. Any other questions you have?
Not at this
Not
time.
on my end, Your
Okay.
Honor.
if you put together your parenting time document and you hit a point where you can't reach agreement, call and schedule a quick hearing. Otherwise, work it out and keep in mind, flexibility is the key. Work with one another. The court orders your safety net if you can't agree. If you can agree otherwise, agree otherwise. If you can
I'm
work it
sorry,
out, work it out.
I would like one more piece of clarification, just because I've had to go through 2 years of trying to go to mediation and her being able to say, nope, now's not a good time. Nope, can't do it right now. Is there something that we can put in there that it has to happen, or do we just come to court?
That's up to you. The court certainly likes it when couples mediate and work things out, because you better understand your children, you better understand your lives, you better understand your schedules. And when you mediate it, it works out better. The
So
court's happy to do this if the court needs to. But
I
you two
prefer,
working out your schedule works better, and a mediator does work better.
right, and that's what I prefer, and that's what's currently in our parenting plan, that if we disagree on something, that we go to mediation before we come to court. However, she's been able to put that off for this long, and then now we're in court all of a sudden. So it's like, okay, I'll just submit my parenting plan here, where I've been wanting to do that all this time, and I've missed a lot of precious time with my kids. Because I
Well,
was under the impression that mediation has to happen first.
if you reach a point where you want to go to mediation, let the court know. We can have a short hearing and order mediation. Okay. Right
Will
now,
do.
you've got your plan set in place for now. Let's see how that works. Okay. Anything
Sounds
further
good.
today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Elder, make your modification, send it over to Ms. Journey Lee, let her review it. If you agree, both of you sign off, submit it to the court. If you hit a sticking point that you just can't agree on, call and schedule another short hearing.
I'm sorry. One more piece of clarification for the rest of this summer. Does that start now? The every other weekend that I can have the kids for the rest of this summer?
Well, every other summer, for the summer, yeah, you have them in the summer, then she'll have her parenting time every other weekend, except for the designated vacation time, which the vacation time won't have visitation.
Okay. So I have
Otherwise,
them up
For the
until
summer, they stay with you, other than her vacation time or her every other weekend visitation.
okay.
Just flip them in the summer. They live with you in the summer and visit with Journey. In the school year, they live with Journey and visit with you. Just flip
So
them.
leave
And
that
Your
annotated
Honor-
in the parenting plan up until the day before school starts.
Normally, you get them back a few days before school starts. They can get back into their routine. A lot of people exchange the weekend before so that they can get back and get into a routine before the school year starts.
Okay.
So, yeah, and
And we
usually
were-
when school year ends, the weekend after the school year ends is when you make the flip for summer.
So can I put just to where there's no gray area, the Friday after school ends and the Sunday at 6 p.m. is when we normally meet. The Sunday before school starts. School usually starts on like a Wednesday and normally
Right.
ends on like middle of week. So would Friday be a good time to pick them up and Sunday be a good time to drop them off?
Look at your schedules, work it out. If you can't agree otherwise, yes, you're still on your Friday, Sunday schedule.
Okay.
But
That's what I'll put in there
you
just so there's no gray area.
make the change the weekend after school lets out for the summer, and then the weekend before school starts for the school year. So like if school starts on a Wednesday, they're going to go back on Sunday night and stay. And so they have some days, Monday, Tuesday, to get back into the routine before school starts.
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay, and when it's activities, don't let the junior high activities overwhelm parenting time. Parenting time is more important, but parents also have to realize that if you keep your kid out of all the extra activities in junior high, you get a very upset child, and nobody's enjoying visitation with that child because now you got a moody, upset child. So, you're going to have to look at what those activities are and start to adjust your schedules a little bit. Okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
As you're getting into those tough years with the junior high and high school, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm sorry, things keep popping
That's
in my,
all
in my
right.
mind.
And other things are going to pop up
Yeah.
as you're putting the plan together. Talk to each other. If you agree, fantastic. If you can't, we'll have a short hearing and clarify it.
Yeah, I just wanted to get all the clarification now while I'm thinking of things.
Go ahead.
The part that I have in there for my wife to take my parenting time anytime I'm under military obligation, at least. I noticed you said that's like when I can't have them, if I'm at work or anything like that, if my wife is able to have them
Yes.
during my parenting time, whether it be military or not, for whatever reason, maybe I'm on jury duty or whatever, then she can still have that.
Yes, it's still your parenting time, and your wife can exercise your parenting time.
Okay. I will rephrase that in the parenting plan to where it's not just my military time, it's anytime.
Anytime you're unavailable, if your wife is available, she can still exercise your parenting time.
Okay. Thank
It's
you.
only
That's all I
when-
have, Your Honor.
It's only when both of you are unavailable, then you would let Journey know that, hey, we have a wedding in Illinois this weekend and we can't keep the kids, but my sister would take them. Well, then Journey can say, well, no, they'll just stay with me and we'll flip a different weekend and give you a different weekend to make up for that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
But if your wife can execute the parenting time, it's same as you executing it.
And then same with like while I'm on deployment, so I'm not limited to one phone call a week.
Our
Oh,
kids have him on Facebook
hang on,
Messenger now,
Hang
so
on.
they're able to call at any time.
Yeah, and on the calling time, now that you've got a 10-year-old, I assume if doesn't have her own phone, soon will.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
Facebook Messenger now that they didn't have before.
Okay,
So they call whenever they want.
you can contact them at any time. Just don't become unreasonable with it. Don't become overwhelming with it. Okay,
Yeah, so the only issue with that is it seems like her phone is always off if I want to call her or message her or anything. We have that set up, but it's only Wi-Fi to use Messenger right now. So it seems like, there's not really a good time for me to contact her even now, so
You said we
I would
keep
still
the
like to have
phones
scheduled times.
charged. We have a charging station and everything, so I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't. I mean, she's called, it's generally Clarissa who calls. Evan's he doesn't play on his phone that often. But she's called him multiple times without any issue. So I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't show her active unless she's just not actively on the phone. But we keep the phones charged here.
Right.
All of
He didn't really say she was active. That's a weird thing that she said there through. Did she turn off the notifications for the kid's phone? See, that's sneaky. But it's a new referee judge coming up after this, guys. Buckle up and get excited because this ain't the end. These people are dragging this shit. I got a bunch of his stuff. I'm excited too.
their devices.
By the way, I would just like to leave that clause in there that while I'm deployed, there's still certain times that I can have a phone call if I can't get a hold of the kids, that I can contact their mother and still have contact with my kids.
Sure. And during the week, you can have contact with your kids. That's reasonable for you to contact them a couple times, 3 times a week. If you have something you need to discuss with them or just to talk with them, that's fine. What you don't want to get into is a situation where you say, well, this child's going to be on the phone with me for 90 minutes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because then the child gets upset. And now it's not good for anybody.
Right.
So even if it's not your week, and same thing if when the kids are spending you in the summer, there's no reason they can't give mom a phone call.
Yeah.
2-3 times a week and talk with mom for 5-10 minutes.
Right.
Right.
So that way
that's all I'm asking
that way
for.
they can keep up with both parents and both households and both families.
Yeah,
Okay?
and that's the reason why I provided both of them a phone, and I allowed them. A lot of times my son is on the phone video chatting with his mom half of the time he's here because he's a mama's boy, and that's fine. I'm trying to encourage them not to be on electronics as much and actually play with the other siblings while they're here. But I make sure that he still has that time to call his mom pretty much on a daily basis. So I'm not getting that in return.
So hopefully it'll work out.
Yep.
If it doesn't, that's where I come in. Okay?
That's the change I'm asking for, and that's why I want it to be outlined in the parenting plan so there's no gray area.
Okay, go ahead and outline it, send it to Journey and have her sign off.
All right.
If it doesn't work, call me and we'll sit down again.
Sounds
We'll be
good.
here from them
Okay?
again.
Yep.
Thank you, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye.
You're gonna need
Bye.
it. Ugh. Good luck, Johnny. You're gonna need it. You should invest some of your money you make into a lawyer. That's the best advice I could give you. Go find a lawyer that knows the judge, that practices in front of him a lot. Believe me, it's the best thing you could do. On to the next.
Tabirin, lawyer guardian ad litem, representing minor children NG and MG.
Very good.
Okay.
Mr. Tabirin, why don't you start us off?
Yes, thank you. I will call Marissa Robles, please.
Very well. Ms. Robles, if you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Tabirin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I begin, I do have 5 exhibits I would move to admit. Number 1 is the Honorable Judge Report dated 7/15/24. Number 2 is the Enhanced Foster Care Quarterly Report. Number 3 is Arbor Circle Progress Report for NG dated 7/3/24. Number 4 is the Case Service Plan with attachments dated 7/1/24. And number 5 is the Permanent Ward Court Report dated June 7/24.
They all may be admitted. You may proceed, Mr. Tabirin.
Thank you. And Ms. Robles, where are you employed?
I'm employed with Wellspring Lutheran Services.
And you are the assigned caseworker for NG and MG?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, starting with NG, can you give an update on placement and any I guess updates or concerns?
Yes, I don't have any updates or concerns with placement at the moment. They still remain placed where they have been for the past several years now. They're still working through things. I guess I can go into like mental health. I think that's been like the biggest struggle this reporting period, honestly. Just trying to stay engaged in day-to-day activities and stay engaged with, their mental health medications and everything else. They were admitted into Forest View this reporting period on May 17th of 2024. And that was due to suicidal ideation. And then they were discharged on May 23rd. So overall, they've been in and out of inpatient the past, several reporting periods as well. They are continuing to be in therapy with Arbor Circle, and that's twice a week. They also got involved with youth peer support this reporting period, and that's weekly. And then they still remain on the wait list for community living supports, which is similar to kind of enhanced foster care, since they were discharged, from EFC back in April, just due to not making any progress.
Would you
Oh.
say, sorry, would you say they has made some any progress since being released from Forest View? Is it, because any progress, I mean,
Yes and no. I think
What kind of program set up to help a child coming out of a psychiatric facility who's been in foster care for years discharges somebody after a few months for not making progress? I'm sorry, what? Are you fucking kidding? It's not a fucking puppy that you can train in just a few months. Like, oh, hey, did you snap out of it? What the fuck kind of program is that? If it's a money program that the government's paying for, you should stop that. That's not appropriate. They wouldn't spend money on these kids when they were kids, when they were babies. They wouldn't give money to their young parents better to prevent this. And now, child costing up thousands of dollars a day in, oh, silence me, computer.
being engaged with like medications, being engaged with or
The whole point is that this person shouldn't have to suffer their insurance coverage. The government's going to take them from their parents. They assume responsibility. They're the ones that have to pay for it. I'm sorry. I don't find the money. You have to find the money. You always find the money for incarcerating these children. You incarcerate them, you send them to RTCs that are states away, out of sight, out of my fucking pocket.
therapist, and I think with the family unit, it has improved. They're still, just taking everything day by day.
when you say engagement, is it a refusal to take medication, the wrong medication, or what is going on there?
Yeah, they've been refusing to take it. Well, the main reason they started Latuda this reporting period when they were at Forest View, and they did not like the side effects. So I know that was the main reason why they stopped taking that. They reported like twitchy side effects. And so we just had a medication review on the 12th of July, so last Friday, and they did say they would be willing to start back up on Abilify and Prozac. So we're starting back up there. I don't know if they've gotten them yet since they've been re-prescribed, but hope they'll be starting them as soon as possible.
And that came out of the med review last week.
Correct.
How are things going in the home? I know there's a lot going on. There's been some stress around that situation. How are things there?
Honestly, I think they're, taking it day by day. I mean, they're, not getting along really well with the other youth in the home. But again, we're just trying to take that with what we can, and just make sure that, both are being supported and, are getting the help that they need.
Where does they stand on adoption?
From my opinion, I think they're still very much on board. There has been some talk about semi-independent living this reporting period with NG, and that's just to give them another option just in case. But I know both of their caregivers are definitely willing to go through that process. I know paperwork did get expired, so they're working on getting that renewed and going through all of that. So they're definitely not giving up by any means. I don't see them as wanting to give up or throw in the towel at all.
What a subtle guilt trip. Even if they wanted to not adopt, how could they say that now? Terrible. My God. Good night, Chuck.
In school, will they be in the fall?
They will be going into their junior year, so 11th grade. The last semester was very rough for them, I will say. Most of the classes were failed. But I know there was some talk about summer school. I'm not sure. I still need to follow up on that just to get a little bit more updates. But I know that they will continue into the following year. So,
I missed that last comment.
they're going to be continuing into their junior year despite failing a majority of the last semester.
Okay. So at this time, are there any pressing concerns or immediate concerns that haven't been addressed or that need to be readdressed or?
No, I would just say, like, just to touch a little bit more on their medical stuff as well. They did have their sleep study this reporting period, and they had just said that they qualified for like mild sleep apnea, but we are very concerned just due to the history of NG sleep and just like how they react when they wake up in the morning. How do they fall asleep? Are they like, it's always been a constant struggle for them. So we are going to plan to follow up with the doctor and hopefully make some more appointments or tests if needed.
This child's been in care for fucking years. That seems like something you could already know. Why would you not already have?
As well.
Okay. Regarding NG, anything else you want the court to know today?
Not at this time.
Okay. Moving on to MG, we had a placement change this reporting period, correct?
Correct. Yes, there were multiple placement changes
Yes.
this reporting period.
Maybe just starting with the most recent change, maybe just kind of briefly when that happened and how it's going.
Yes. So he moved to his new placement on June 21st of 2024. Overall, I think he's doing relatively well in this home. He has AWOL'd a couple of times from them, and that was before he had moved and after. And that is due to he just gets so angry in the moment and he just needs to run. That's a typical MG behavior. But I think like after he returned, they were able to have like a very serious like conversation with him and kind of come to like, okay, this is what we need to put in place in order for you to be successful in our home. And so they're working together as a family unit, I think, to really address his behaviors in the home. I mean, other than this, I know he can go from 0 to 100 sometimes and may lack a little bit of motivation to do some things, but once he's actually in the moment and does it, he doesn't stop until it's done. So overall, I think he's been doing really well. I will say he is not in therapy at the moment just due to all of the placement changes. I have made a referral to Wedgwood to get him back into counseling services and for psychiatric services because he is on medications. They have not gotten back to me at this point, but I will continue to follow up with them. And then if another referral needs to be made, I'll make that as well.
Okay, what is the plan for school in the fall?
He'll be going to Rockford High School in the fall. And then his IEP will remain in place. When he was at Tri-County, they did mention the possibility of retesting him in the fall to see if he's still eligible for his IEP. So I am going to communicate that with Rockford to see if they would be willing to do the same.
Rockford obviously is a huge high school. Is anything in place to kind of maybe ease his transition or get him acclimated with the school before just kind of walking in day one?
Not at the moment, but that's definitely something I can talk to his caregivers about just to see if we are able to get him in any sooner, just so he's able to kind of maybe get a little tour and all of that, but he will be a freshman. So I do anticipate some sort of freshman orientation happening before the school year starts. But if not, I'll make sure that there's something in place.
At the last hearing, he was in level 3 enhanced foster care. Where do we stand now?
He is in level 2 enhanced foster care, so that's 3 times a month in the home. Honestly, he's been really using his workers this past reporting period, and every time I have walked in on them, he's like really talking with them and opening up and just like letting them know where he's at. They've been working with him on his coping skills, independent living skills, anger management, and then household and school expectations. He's been working with one of his workers for the past several years now on and off, and so he definitely trusts them and opens up a lot. So I do think that's a beneficial service for him.
Is he involved in any activities? I think he was playing soccer when we met the last time.
Yes, he was. He's not at the moment, and I do need to follow up on that because I'm not sure if he's going to be eligible to play football. I'm assuming that he will, since he's going to be there before the school year starts. And I know that's something he's been wanting to do for a really long time now. So I will follow up on that for sure. And then I know he's been able to work a lot during the summer too, at the campground with some of his supports, kind of learning how money works and how to get some budgeting skills in. And he seemed to really enjoy that a lot. So he's definitely very active.
Is this a pre-adoptive home?
Yes.
Have MG and NG had a chance to spend any time together this report period?
I just got them together on July 9th.
Okay. How'd that go?
It went really well. Angelina was also able to be with us. And I mean, it was great. They haven't seen each other in a really long time, just with everything going on in every home. And MG's face just lit up like stars. Like he was so happy, and they got to meet his new caregivers and their pets in the home. And it was really great to just see them interact again. And you can definitely tell that MG, those are his people. And those are his supports. And so it was really great to just be able to observe that and get to spend time with them too, since I've been working with them for a really long time. So it was great.
Okay, good. All right. Anything else you want the court to know regarding MG?
Not at this time, no.
All right. What is your recommendation today?
It is respectfully recommended that NG and MG remain permanent court wards and committed to MCI for care and supervision. That adoption continue with adoption efforts for NG and MG. That NG and MG remain placed in a licensed foster home in the care of an approved relative or in a residential facility. The goal of adoption be pursued in a timely manner, and that this matter be reviewed in 90 days.
Great, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Okay, and I don't have any additional questions for the witness either. So Ms. Robles, you may step down. Any additional witnesses or evidence to present, Mr. Tiburon?
Yes, please, Your Honor. I would call Rebecca Kroll, please.
Very well, Ms. Kroll, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may proceed, Mr. Tiburon.
Great, thank you. Is it Kroll or Cruel?
Kroll, you were right.
Well, thank you. I believe you're filling in for Ms. Merrill, correct?
Correct.
Were you able to review the adoption report that she had prepared?
I have, and she gave me bonus notes. So that's, yes, I've reviewed all.
Sounds good, thank you. Starting with NG, can you give an update on the adoption process?
Yeah, so Alyssa Merrill left me a note. For NG, it says the family has completed some additional paperwork, but there are now some documents that have expired and will need to be updated. The family has a list of what they need. do you want, she provided me a list if you want.
No,
me to go
no,
over
thank
it.
you. That's fine.
Okay. And so it looks like just waiting for updated paperwork and she can move forward in her assessment process.
Okay, great. So it sounds like on both sides, we're moving forward. There was some concern about whether NG wanted to continue that process.
Yeah, I read through that. And I think that with the independent living, there's that option too. However, Alyssa Merrill plans to continue moving forward with the adoption, but can go as fast or as slow as needed based on NG's requests, wants, needs. And so I think it looks like everything is going well.
Okay, great. And then regarding MG, likewise, can you give an update on the adoption process?
Yeah, so a short update for MG. An adoption orientation was completed on July 1st, 2024, and an intent to adopt was signed. The family has been provided with the adoption paperwork. So sounds like that is just starting. So there's probably a lot to collect.
Okay, great. What is your recommendation today?
It is respectfully recommended that NG and MG permanency planning goals remain adoption. NG and MG remain MCI wards under the supervision of this court, the Department of Health and Human Services, and its contract agencies. The court find reasonable efforts have been made towards the permanency goal of adoption, and the court review this matter again in 90 days.
Great, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Very good. I don't have any additional questions either. So, Ms. Kroll, you may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence at this time, Mr. Taburin?
No, thank you.
I think I just saw someone make an appearance with Miss the caregivers here. Oh, both. All right. Looking well. Thank you. Very good. Thank you for that. Any comment from the caregivers at this time?
We're just moving forward day by day. It's been kind of a roller coaster. And yeah, we're just trying to move forward day by day. As far as like adoption paperwork goes, we were able to get the rest of the paperwork in, but then some of the prior paperwork has become like
Dated?
past due in the process. And then with NG talking about potential independent living things, we weren't sure like how realistic that is, how likely anything is. So just kind of trying to figure out what paperwork do we, update? Are we pausing? What is happening? So kind of just one step at a time.
Riding the whirlwind, I suppose.
That's for sure.
Very good. Well, thank you again for your assistance in the whole case and willingness to step up for these kids. Any other testimony or proofs you wish to put on, Mr. Taburin?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Very good. Well, I have heard the testimony today. You wish to make any closing statement, Mr. Taburin?
Just very briefly, Your Honor, I did talk to both of my clients. They're, I think, both doing well. I think Ms. Robles and Ms. Kroll testified very well to the ups and downs, but I think overall we're making progress. I'm glad to see both adoption. Well, the one adoption process is very, very new, but hopefully moving forward, and the other one seems to be kind of back on track. So I think the recommendations are appropriate. Thank you.
Very good. And I do see the Canes here. You're going to have to remind me of your role in the case. I should know, but I'm pleading ignorance at this point.
Yeah, we are MG's new caregivers.
Got it. And anything you'd like to say at this time?
We've been very happy to have him around, and we're adjusting, I think, pretty well, getting to know each other. Right now, we are at a teen camp for the week. We're both serving on staff, and he's here with us, and he's having a good time. And yeah, overall, I would say we're moving forward well.
Outstanding. Where is that teen camp located?
Northern Indiana.
Okay. Real good. Is it hot?
It's warm.
Yeah. Well, I used to go back to Notre Dame in August and I was hot.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for stepping up for MG as well. I greatly appreciate it. Well, I have heard the testimony, reviewed the exhibits entered into evidence. Do think, this case has had its, just like the caregivers indicated here, it's definite ups and downs, and challenges here. So, however, I do think the recommendations are appropriate and that NG and MG should remain permanent court wards under the direct care and supervision of the Michigan Children's Institute and placed for adoption at this time, that they remain placed in their current placements, that they participate and benefit from their respective treatment plans. Drug screens will remain court ordered for both NG and MG. And my encouragement for both NG and MG, I know taking the meds, the prescribed meds is not always, doesn't always feel good. The side effects aren't always real positive. However, my experience with folks that take them is once you do consistently take them for a couple months at a time, combining that with counseling and other treatment really gives you a chance to stabilize your mood and thoughts and decision-making process a lot. So I certainly would encourage, I'm not going to force pills down anyone's throat. I would certainly encourage, give the meds a chance. Sometimes the side effects, once you kind of adjust your life to them, they back off a little bit once you get used to the new medicine. So we will pursue adoption in a timely manner in both these cases, although certainly, not out of the realm of consideration that NG could look for an independent living arrangement. I truly believe that adoption, because of the family supports and things available, would be the preferred option. But it's ultimately, NG, given your age, it's going to be up to you. I'll review this matter in 90 days. Lisa, do we have a date and time?
Yes, October 7 at 10:30 by Zoom.
Damn.
October 7th, 10:30 a.m. Zoom.
Schedule.
Anything else for the
October's
record,
90
Mr.
days
Burns?
away?
No,
Hold on. October's 90 days away? Oh, fuck. This year is just going so fast. All right, let's let it.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks all for your participation and for your support during this case. It's one I've had open for one of the longest, but it's been a joy to see what all these kids can do once they find their footing. So still grateful for everyone's support. With that, we are concluded.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ooh, that has a good ring to it. Judge Paisley. That was a good ending, actually. It seems like they are in a good. The one kid's at summer camp. Nobody objected to him going to summer camp, and the parents are there, so that sort of takes away. I'm gonna have to be quick with my exit. StreamYard Daddy don't want me to talk. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Please hit their tubes. You're too kind. You're too kind. We are all our own movie stars, main characters. I hope that you have a wonderful go eat something, maybe. Let's be honest. I'm gonna hide. Hide the candy. Miss you too, Mike. I love you. I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. See you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Bye.